booties for black girl nerds.
Congratulations on Ballerina, one of the biggest franchises, being a part of the John Wick universe.
Thank you.
And the action genre, you are no stranger to this genre. So what have you learned from past films that you've worked on, and what lessons have you brought into working in Ballerina?
I think every film I did before this one, those were baby steps, and everything helped. But definitely, this was another level of complexity and commitment and discipline, and it just took so much time to get to the place I wanted to feel, to get comfortable with the character and all the weapons and all the fights and all the movements, and it was very challenging in every way, but very rewarding and fun.
And speaking of challenging, you mentioned yesterday at CinemaCon that you had a lot of physical demands with like getting blisters, and then you trained for several months. So we know about the physical demands, but what about emotionally? What was that like for you working on Ballerina?
It is very emotional because when you put your body to the limits, it gets the best of you, and the character also has a lot going on for her. It is very emotional for her, and I think when the action comes from that, when that's what's behind it, everything changes, and you can connect with the audiences, and you can connect with the reason why she's looking for revenge and killing so many people. And she has a beautiful arc in the movie, like from when she's a child witnessing men killing her dad, and then the discovering of who these people are, and then going after them, and everything that happens is just is a beautiful, it's a beautiful journey. Yeah.
One last question. One thing that fans notice about the John Wick movies is John Wick himself. He can't conquer stairs. It's just something that he just cannot deal with. We see him falling downstairs. So is that going to be a moment that we're going to see in Ballerina? Does she have a flaw that she just can't quite conquer?
She's just, maybe it is her emotions and her, she's really stubborn. And when she gets like that, she won't listen. And even though she's going to be advised and warned by many people to stop pursuing that, she just won't do it. She want to have it her way, and she's going to have to pay for it. So sometimes it's just, you have to, it's part of the discipline is one of the biggest things for an assassin. So she's going to have to learn that lesson.
Awesome. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, Ian. My name is Shalise Williams of Black Girl Nerds. How are you doing today?
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Thank you so much for the time to speak with us today.
Yeah.
This has been one of my favorite films of the year. Of course, you go into these spin-offs not really knowing what to expect, but I have to say this is top 3 John Wick films for sure.
Hey, good.
So I do want to ask you about Winston being with us for 11 years now across 5 movies. And I want to ask you this in particular because you've been with us the entire time. So what are some similarities that you saw between Keanu's first time taking on the role of John Wick versus Ana de Armas portraying Eve for the first time?
It's a natural progression. I mean, we started off with this independent movie back in 2013, and it became this sort of, international hit. And Keanu became sort of synonymous with his social media life, which is interesting, which I think added to the luster of the John Wick character, and giving him originally a dead wife. They steal his car, and they kill his dog. He can do anything. And now you've got Anna, which was introduced in episode 3 with Angelica Houston as this girl. And Winston's known them both since they were kids. So it's kind of like it's the yin and the yang, if you like, of Winston's, and the feminine, masculine thing. It's about time they brought in a female demographic of of Anna's character. Also, they were very smart in casting Anna because her character in that Bond film was great. You remember she played in the No Time to Die, played that character, and I'd forgotten the name of her this morning, but she said, people said you wanted more, and I said no, it was perfect. You had the one scene in that which everybody said she was great, and you never saw her again. And I said, you were the best thing in the movie, but now you got a whole movie playing a version of Paloma, a different kind, and also she's like, yeah, that the opening is great because when we went back and did the new shoots of the movie, when we did that opening sequence of me finding her as a kid, which then sets an emotional resonance for the film and gives her again, like as I said before, about when you already know about John, he's lost his wife, he loses his dog, he loses his car, Anna loses her family, whatever. So you're on her side, right, for the movie, which gives you that extra edge as an audience, so she can commit all that. So she can commit all that mayhem and, kill 1,000 people like John Wick, and nobody cares. You're still on her side. Go, girl, go get him, Which is,
yeah, no,
that's what?
No, she was a phenomenal casting. I'm glad you brought up the
but it's also like you cheer on, even though it's ridiculous. I mean, but that's what movies are about. And I say ridiculous in the sense of like, it's great, but that's movies. At the same time, that's why you're on her side, and that's why you've had a sort of emotional track. So the films, in fact, I mean, they're cleverly worked out. I mean, over the 5 years, I think it's because you have the same writers. They take great care to try and give an emotional plot line which will add to the otherwise, the amazing, all the amazing stunts and the amazing action sequences, which are very carefully choreographed, and which she was up for, and which she executes beautifully,
Yeah, and about this film in particular, you're one of the few cast members that got to share screen time in Ballerina with the late Lance Reddick. And I want to ask if you can describe any fun memory that you remember sharing with him on the set of this film.
You talking about Lance?
Mm-hmm. On this
Oh,
film.
yeah, I just miss him. No, I mean, I remember, the thing I remember best is, and saddest, is that like doing this 2 years ago. Doing this 2 years ago with him in L.A. And then the last thing I said, I said, I'm off to London to do the premiere and do the same thing. I'll see you back in L.A. And I never saw him again.
Oh,
but that is life. No, it's true. But he's been forever on the screen. So God bless you, buddy.
Yeah, no, he did great. It was nice seeing him. It was very heartwarming being able to see him, and I'm glad that you got that time to share him in one of his last films. And I do appreciate talking with you. This film is literally on the top 10 for me. I was really excited about it. I love when they bring in a female character, and like I mentioned before, sometimes spinoffs don't work, but this, not only did it work, but it's a fantastic film, action the entire way through until the credits roll. And I do appreciate talking with you today about it.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it, darling. Thank you. Have a good day.
Hi, Sharon. My name is Elise Williams of Black Girl Nerds. How you doing today?
I'm good. It's a pleasure and an honor to be talking to you. I'm really excited to be speaking to you all. Thank you for having me.
No, of course. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I very much appreciate it. I love this movie so much, so to be able to talk to the cast about it.
Listen, glad to hear it.
Starting with that energy, again, I love the movie, and you've been in the entertainment business for a while, enough to know that sometimes spinoffs or reboots don't always work. In some cases, they succeed some of their previous installments. Ballerina not only worked, but I think that it's easily top 3 John Wick films, hands down. So, so when you got the call, like that you got on when you got the script, what were some things that you were looking for in it?
Okay, to be honest with you, I didn't get to audition, so I was never sent the script. My process, my entry into things was a little different. I actually was lucky enough to have an invitation to say, do you want to do the role? I got a phone call saying they want to talk to you, which I didn't know what that meant. It was, is this a meeting? Is it a chat? Is it, do I need to read anything, prep anything? And they were like, just a chat. And I spoke with Len Wiseman and Chad, one of the producers, and they just started talking to me about this new character, this Nogi, and the world that she inhabits, which is the John Wick franchise. But I hadn't seen any of the John Wick films before, so for me that was all I could base it on. I knew I was coming into this meeting, so I'd seen one film, and I had to base my judgment on that. But as soon as I'd seen the film, I was like, who's gonna say no to working on a film like this, on a franchise like this, with Keanu, with all the other actors involved, amazing cast. I was like, yes, and she's kick-ass. Yes, I'm in. So for me, there was no script, there was no need. But when they told me that Ballerina was part of the franchise that was from a different perspective, but completely woven in the world of John Wick, I was like, how can I say no? So yeah, it was a done deal. Yeah.
Yeah, well, speaking on that, although you didn't audition, one thing that did stand out about your character Nogi is her way of training Eve, really pushing her to understand that being strong is a mindset and not solely a physical trait. So, has there ever been a role where you had to get into your own head and know, hey, I got it, own it, claim it, and then let the audition speak for itself?
Oh, so many roles. I mean, I think as an actor, every single role feels like that in a way, unless you're playing someone close to yourself. Um, Dune was one of them. It was, it's this unknown realm. We're in the middle of space somewhere, but because there were the fans, so dedicated to the Dune world, I knew that there was a certain amount of uh, detail and thought that had to go into serving the book. So for me, it's always about the information that I can get, and then sort of punching my way through, because sometimes it's just about the nerves. So I'm always trying to find that one little kernel that I can carry with me and take safely through the audition process. But Dune, I could say for sure, was one. Star Wars was another one for me, where I felt like they could be looking for anybody. I need to just base it on the fact that this woman doesn't agree with anybody. Okay, I'll carry that truth with me and take it through. So there's always a little element of truth that I try to carry with me. But I'd say from most films, really, there's that pressure. For me as a performer, I always feel that I as long as I hold that, that will help me get through. But every audition for me is nerve-wracking. I don't think I'll ever lose that. Some people just fly through, but it's harder for me, which is always why it's so nice when you are invited and asked to do something. You don't have to audition. So I
No,
got a touch in this instance. It was a touch, yeah.
no, that's cool. Getting a solid role, like, okay, whatever comes out on the screen is what comes out, is what you asked for.
But then also I say that, sometimes you have the pressure of, then you're in the room and you're in front of the camera, and then the concern is, am I giving them what they thought I was going to give them? So sometimes, it could be there could be an added pressure in that sense as well. So communication is the key, definitely. We always have to keep checking in, and that's the beauty of having great directors and great producers who are always around. You can always still tap in and say, is that what you wanted? Because I can give you something different. And versatility, being able to be flexible and change and adapt whilst we're on set was part of what I like doing. So it's cool. The pressure's there momentarily, and then we fly again. So it's all good.
You have been part of some of the bigger franchises, from Dune to Star Wars, like we mentioned, even the Sherlock Holmes world, and now John Wick. But I want to nerd out with you real quick, because I don't know how much you pay attention to socials, but you have been fan casted quite often as Storm. So what are your thoughts when you see stuff like that? And would you like to play a character in the DC or the Marvel universe? Like, how do you feel about that?
I I've been seen spying, because I sort of stepped away from socials for a short while, and coming back to do promotion for Ballerina. I had been seeing people saying, I'm going to have a word with people upstairs about Storm. So I was like, actually, I'd love to play Storm. If I got an invitation to play Storm, I've been starting to work out and keep fit. I'm also doing some fight stuff for another project. So already I'm getting back in shape. So I'm ready for this, if they call it Storm, watch me now. I'll change my hair. Give me that white hair. Trust. Look, watch the muscles. Sit there. Okay. Bring Storm to me, because that, in all honesty, I would absolutely love it. And I remember watching Halle from way back. Just, she was on it, and I think, I think there's a part of Storm's backstory life where she's quite. I'm the girl. I think it would be lovely to be able to really bring some more details that we hadn't seen in the past. Be it a TV franchise, I would love to do it on film for sure.
Yeah.
But God's
Pray to the
whoever's
Marvel Jesuses, Kevin Feige, call it.
bring it, Ashe, please. Yes, I'd
That would
love
be
it.
awesome. I'm glad that you've seen that because that has been everywhere. So it
Are you
does make
telling
fun.
me?
Yeah.
So, sorry to interrupt, but are you saying that people is not because I've only seen I've only seen it once or twice. Are you saying that a lot of people?
I've seen it like 4 or 5 times on a thread on Reddit and then on Twitter. So yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
do you know what I mean? Maybe we leave it to the people out there because it's the people who speak. Who's up for it? If you all are up for it, let me know because it'd be good to know what genuinely what people think. People always have somebody that they view as the next whoever in a franchise. So it'd be nice to know. It would, and I wouldn't be insulted if it was somebody else. It's nice to hear what the people want and to sometimes give the people what they want as well. So
Right, for sure, for sure.
exciting, exciting.
Well, I very much appreciate talking to you. I hope I do get to see you on screen as Storm. This movie was fantastic, and I hope to talk to you again in a couple of weeks for Washington
Yeah.
Black. That would be nice.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's see what happens. Thank you so much. Yeah,
No
take
problem.
care.
Have a great day.
Bye bye. You too.
My name is Shalise with Black Girl Nerds. How you doing today?
I'm good, Shalise. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us. This movie was so badass, so I've been geeked talking to the cast about it.
Oh, good. You liked it.
Yeah, I think been going on record by saying that this is top three in the John Wick franchise out of all the films. In this top three for sure.
You keep saying that. I like that. I like with that energy. I'm gonna keep it the same too.
You just keep telling people top three, and you never have to tell them who the first and the second or third is, but just say it's in the top three.
Yeah. But we know the first one is top one.
Okay. So, for starters, I am a big fan of films that kick off with action and give you the backstory right away.
Uh,
And the scenes in Ballerina gave us exactly what we needed to really understand Eve's motives. So, I want to ask you in particular, how interesting was it to watch a whole movie play out that revolves around Eve essentially seeking revenge for you? Like, this movie's about you.
oh my God. It was so funny. It was really, at a certain point I was like, I can't believe she's trying to kill all these people for me.
Yeah.
Oh, this is crazy. No, at the end of the day, right? Like one can do so much within the minutes that you're given, but I think, it sort of shows how talented Ana de Armas is to be able to make you care
Mhm.
for that death for 2 hours and 20 minutes or so, to actually see her be able to do all her stunts and also, feel the pain of her losing her father. So yeah, of course, the whole intro is like action packed and like their father daughter loving relationship. And you're right, if that doesn't sell, then the whole movie sort of it's hard to keep up. But I felt like Anna did a phenomenal job to make sure that I cared watching it, you know. I didn't care for myself, I guess. Yeah.
No, she did. She did a great job. And speaking on that, I do think, I mean, the reality of the situation is people often aren't bought into prequels or spin-offs or whatnot, but the cast and the way this film was put together really made it something stand out on its own. Like, of course, it has the same like John Wickness to it, but it is its own standalone film.
Yeah. Yeah, they really made sure that the tone of it, it
Mhm.
was it was the John Wick universe, the whole thing, the stunt people, the performers. Obviously having Keanu there doesn't hurt either, but definitely being Anna's film,
Mhm.
you know, and her being the sort of protagonist that kind of cuts through the veer of where the story goes is yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that actually.
No, I mean sometimes they throw the main character in there. Like this wasn't like bring Keanu, he has to carry the film. It was its own entirely own thing, and I love
Yeah,
that.
and not even a cameo either. It's a substantial like whole storyline.
Right. And your fighting style takes on to take on so many people at once in very calculated sequences. That's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of one takes, and because Javier does know his own home, I love the scenes that you have with the younger version of Eve. But I would have loved to have seen what it would have been like for you to fight alongside Ana de Armas. So, how do you imagine those sequences would have been with her?
Put some gray hairs on me and wrinkle me up, and just, just get me to do some things along with Anna and Keanu, like, because obviously in the film, I think it's hinted that, Keanu obviously knew Javier, John Wick knew Javier. They had a bond, which sort of leads John Wick to not really do any damage to Eve. So yeah, it would have been interesting, right? But I don't think it would have turned into like a buddy cop movie or anything.
Right.
No,
I
no.
mean, I've always believed in that. You just never know. I mean, what if he did go off and be like, you know what? I'm alive, but I want my daughter to like go and live a successful life without me being involved and tampering with that. So you never,
Yeah,
I mean,
it could. I mean, they could do like a 3.25, where like it's like the day before.
I
Javier.
love that idea. And speaking of ideas that I love, I know this is like not fight related, but one thing I did love about your sequences was that room, like that hidden room. And I found myself watching this, like, man, I kind of want something like this. Like my mind is like going into like real estate at this point because I'm like, I kind of would have loved to have a home like that, with something that's hidden. So if you
Yeah.
did have something like that built in your home, what do you think you might keep in there, or like what would you essentially hide or build it to be like?
What would I put in there? Oh man, I don't know. I mean, you could put some bottles of wine in there because it'd be kind of cool. I definitely put like some really like maybe some family photos that I don't that I want to make sure that they stay intact. I don't know, honestly, I don't have that many valuable things, and anything that is valuable is like my family, so I wouldn't put my family in there. You
I
know,
mean, I know you put her in this one.
That's true. That's true for danger. But you know what? Maybe I would have like a good Thanksgiving in there, Just like, hey, come in here, or like a popcorn machine. That'd be good.
Like a little movie room.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything that I just don't want to be in public, just like a big popcorn machine.
Well, that's awesome. I really love the film, and I'm not just saying that. A lot of people that know me, it's been a month since I've seen this, and I've been
Oh,
having to keep it under wraps. I'm gonna go see it again because I want to see it. There's some people I want to see it with. And my boyfriend is a huge Keanu fan, so I definitely want to take him to see that. But this is fantastic. I hope that there's another film again with possibly bringing your character back, right? But I hope that they keep this going, because I do think it's extremely rare to have spinoffs work, and this not only works but it exceeds expectations. And thank you so much for taking time to speak with me. You have a hit on your hands, and I can't wait for you guys to just bask in the ambience of everyone telling y'all how great this film is.
thank you so much. That means so much, Lisa. I appreciate that.
Of course, you have a great day.
You too.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.